Crash Course Open Houses. This is actually one of the easiest classes for me to teach because it comes the most naturally to me. That first year in real estate where I was out on my own, I did on average 3 open houses a week from pretty much March until October. I learned an awful lot about what works, what doesn't work. In fact, at one point, I was actually setting up over 100 open house signs. I had a lender partner who was bringing a barbecue pit to every single one of them. We put up flyers all over town that said, free food, free food, free food. We'd barbecue, give hamburgers and hot dogs out before and after each open house. Exhausting the amount of work went to them. Turns out doing open houses that way did not generate any more business for me than the way that I'm going to teach you now. I learned it wasn't about how many people I could get through the open house. It was the quality conversations I had with people at the open house that made all the difference and really started to help me close business. It's interesting, the average real estate agent doesn't believe that open houses, 1, sell the house you're hosting open, or 2, helps you procure buyers. And I think it's all because of their mindset. Those are the very same agents who, when I go pop in on other open houses, because I'm constantly a student of real estate, I would see them sitting in an easy couch watching TV or on their phone, not even paying attention to the prospective clients that come through. My thought is, of course, you don't sell the house to them or procure any new clients for yourself because you're acting like a noob completely while you're hosting it. So I'm going to go over just a few basic tools to help you have excellent conversion ratios at an open house, as well as actually help you sell the open house that you're holding open. You know, the National Association of Realtor Statistics says it's just about 8%, 7 to 8% of consumers actually buy their house at the open house. And so that very statistic is why most agents won't hold an open house open. Or that statistic is why those agents tell their sellers, we're not going to do open houses. They only improve your odds by like 5 to 8%. Well, that's what I would tell a seller why we must do an open house. And that's actually what would help me take more business. Is I would say, I want to do everything I can to help you sell your house. That includes improving the odds by only 5% at a time by doing open houses. Wouldn't you like a 5% higher chance of closing? Great, so that's what we're doing. So open houses, how do we do them and why do they work? Well, let me just go. There's basically 3 components to picking an open house. If you've ever done an open house and you've had no one show up, and then you'll do another open house and have 50 people show up, and there's just really no rhyme or reason to your way of thinking of why a house sold or not. Let me just tell you, or why a house had traction or traffic at it. Let me just tell you, open houses does not depend on what home is the freshest and hottest to the market. I've come to believe completely that homes that have been on the market for 60, 70, 80 days have just as much opportunity for you as do a home that's just on the market for 0 days. You see, when a buyer's looking to buy, they're not necessarily looking at the days on market. They're looking for days on market when it comes to negotiating price. But if they're just brand new home buyers who haven't been looking before and they see a house that's held open, they want to go see it. So perfectly, you can have just as good results on a house that's been soaking on the market for a long time versus something brand new. One thing that you do need to use when you choose an open house, follow these 3 criteria. 3 rules of thumb. No more than 3 turns off a busy street. This is an absolute fact. And so like I said, I'm a student of open houses. I sometimes just go to them just to pop in on them. Well, if I see an open house sign, I turn right, and I drive for 2 or 3 blocks and see an open house sign, turn left, turn right, turn left. Pretty soon I'm over it. I'm like, it's not worth the hassle. I'll just turn around and go right back to where I was going. And so you want to be within 3 turns of a busy street. This helps for the directionality of it, and it also helps because a lot of folks who are going to stop in at your open house were just prospective looky-loos. Maybe they don't even know they're serious buyers, and they just saw the sign, so they decided to follow you. If you have to go 5 miles down this road, or you get easily lost in the directions, they're just going to turn around and go about their day. So 3 turns off a busy road. Second is it's got to be professionally staged, at least professionally photographed. Listen, when you go on a first date, you put on your best duds, right? So the house should be the same. If you want to have good traction at open house, you got to do it at homes that preferably are vacant and professionally staged. The picture's got to look sexy. If the pictures don't look sexy, if the house doesn't look attractive, no one's going to come to it. So all too often, you might have an experienced agent comes up to you and says, hey, I got a great property for you to do an open house at. They want you to do it because they don't want to waste their own time. Experienced agents will waste anyone's time but their own. If it was a good location for an open house, they'd probably be holding it open themselves. So how do the photos look? Is it presentable? Are people going to want to hang out in it? Who cares if you get 50 people through your open house if there's a bad cat smell? they're never going to stick around long enough for you to have a conversation with them to help try to recruit them or close them for business if there's an odd smell or the house is off or there's just something amiss. So preferably vacant, if not vacant, at least professionally photographed. On that note, if you're holding an open house for someone else, I would always encourage them, please let your seller know to put all private possessions that have some personal value away, because I'm not going to be responsible for them. The last thing you want to do is find yourself having to be the keeper of the heirlooms because the cat lady has ceramic vases everywhere. So pick an open house that looks beautiful. If it is occupied, make sure you let the seller know that you take no responsibility for anything that's in there. And the third component is it's got to be at a price point you can master. Very early on, I would see other real estate agents that say, oh, I'm going to get into open houses. I'm only going to hold luxury open houses because I'm a luxury agent. I'm like, dude, you drive a Miata. You're not a luxury agent. Be at a price point you can master. If you're a young guy, you have a fixed gear bicycle, you're into the latest microbrews, you should not be holding open houses in suburban America. I was a suburban guy. In fact, I actually drove a Volvo. My wife and I, the most expensive real estate car I could afford was $5,000. That's what I had a budget for. We wanted a car that looked nice, so I bought a Volvo XC90. It was a complete station wagon, but it looked sexy. I didn't even have kids at the time, but I just started kind of working towards the young dad group. I would be showing people homes, and they'd say, how many kids do you have? I'd be like, none. Why do you ask? Because I'm driving a station wagon. But that's kind of how I look like. I was in my early 30s. I looked like the station wagon dad. So I did all my open houses in suburbia. If you are young, trendy, hip, whatever, it doesn't mean you can't sell real estate to suburban dads. It just means you shouldn't market yourself to suburban dads. So you should be doing open houses in the lofts in downtown 6th Avenue. You're going to crush it there. If I showed up in a suit and tie right above a condo building right above like Magoo's, it probably just wouldn't go over very well. It's not the clientele that's going to want to work with me. It's not a price point I could master. Same goes for luxury. Everybody wants to get their price point up. Well, good for you, and you should. Can you master that price point yet? If you want to get your price point up to $600,000, but you're not willing to sacrifice that goofy hipster haircut you wear, well, then you shouldn't be working that price point. Again, the same for your car. You know what? I'm never going to judge you by the car you drive, but your clients sure as heck are. So make sure that you can master that price point. A great note about the car. Don't park in front of the house. It's like complete bush league amateur move. How many times I've showed up at an open house to see one of the agents have their car parked directly in front. Listen, if you're driving mom's Miata, you don't want your clients to know. At least, get them to sign on the dotted line before they see the piece of crap that's parked out front. Always park down the street. Unless, of course, it's a Lexus, and then you park in front of the house, but still not in the driveway. Bush league move. So the 3 keys: price point you can master, professionally photographed and staged, and no more than 3 turns from a busy road. That's exactly how you select an open house to win for success. The next one is, what are the 3 models to follow when holding an open house? So you got the perfect open house. How do you go about converting and closing business? Well, let me tell you, it's very simple. It's really easy if you'll follow these 3 cues. You ready? So cue number 1, focus on the environment. What do I mean by environment? So if you've gone to an open house before, you've known you're one of 2 people. As a prospective buyer, you're one of 2 people. Either someone who's never been to an open house before and have no idea what to expect, and therefore you're open to anything, or you've been to an open house before, had a horrible experience with an agent, and are a little bit leery about going to a second one. So we just kind of want to set the right environment. And this is the environment. There should always be music playing. In fact, every open house I've ever did, I put music in the background. And not music that I want to listen to. Listen, I'm big into reggae. Let's say I'm big into whatever it is. I'm thinking, I'm at an open house for 4 hours. I'm going to chill and relax to the music I like. No, not true. I'm on a 4-hour job interview. I'm going to play the kind of music I don't think people would be offended by, turned off by, or be distracted by. So it's always some instrumental Yanni wind flute type thing. I don't know, I go to a 4-hour seance pretty much. If that's what you're playing for, it's for the environment. Second, candles. Candles are good. Put out some candles, even if there's an odor or not an odor. I actually would bake cookies, because baked cookies always smelled good. And it was always kind of goofy that there's a guy standing there with a plate of cookies. I just baked them. Would you like them? So the smell and the environment. And secondly, think about how it is when they just park their car. The worst thing that happened in my first couple open houses, I didn't know any better. I would see a car pull up and be so excited someone was there. I'd walk out kind of like a puppy dog, open their front door and be like, hi! And then I just stand there. And they'd be kind of fidgeting with the kids, getting them out of the car seat. And I'm like, I should probably go inside because this looks really goofy, but I don't know what to do. And every once in a while, they'd look over their shoulder and see me and be like, hi! Just like that awkward 7-year-old kid who hadn't seen uncle in a long time. And by the time they got to the door, it was like, I'm your realtor, Andy. It was just dumb and goofy. So when I say environment, I really want you to focus on how are you making them feel as they come up to the house. So this is the best way to set the right environment at an open house. I'd be in the living room just hoping and praying someone would show up. All of a sudden the car does. Play it cool, Taylor. This happens all the time. They would park the car. They would start to get out of the car. At that point in time, I'd walk to the front door, open it. Hello, welcome to the open house. Come on inside. I'm the realtor. I'll see you when you get in. I would close the door and I would walk my tail back to the kitchen. That's it. I acknowledge them. Some people don't know, do I come in, do I come out? What your goal is to set the right environment so they feel very comfortable very quickly. The way you do that, you acknowledge their presence and then you get the heck out of there. Hi, I'm here. Just wanted you to know I was here at the open house. Come on inside, I'll see you inside. I walk back to the kitchen. Why do you go all the way back to the kitchen? It's because you don't want to stand in the living room like you're doing this. You don't want them to see that. So I just, again, would make the steps all the way back to the kitchen. Then we go to the second step that we focus on, and that is the personal space. We focus on the personal space between you and them. Let's just say you've been waiting for 2 hours for a client to show up. So finally a client shows up, and you want to kind of just put your hand in their back pocket and follow them around like a puppy dog everywhere. No, they didn't come here to see you. They didn't even know you existed 19 seconds ago. They came to see the house. So give them personal space. And again, this is the way you give them personal space. So remember, I just greeted them at the door. I walked back to the kitchen. They've now just come in the front door. I would walk back up. Hi, my name's Andy. I'm the realtor. I just want to introduce myself. Listen, I know no one likes the Nordstrom salesperson following them around. I'm not going to do that. I'm here if you have any questions. You go ahead and peruse the house, and I'll be in the kitchen waiting for you when you come back. Thank you. Turn around and walk off. Let me do it again. Hi, my name's Andy. I'm the real estate agent. Listen, no one likes the Nordstrom salesperson following them around. I'm not going to do the same to you. You all just go tour the house and meet me back in the kitchen when you're done. Thank you. You want to acknowledge them. See, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to follow you and ask you tons of questions, which is great. That's what they want to do. Or they're going to be glad you're ignoring them and they're going to go do their thing. Either way, give them their personal space. You may, if the house is vacant, you can only be in one room. The kitchen. Maybe you can step a toe in the living room, but you don't have my permission to follow them around, badgering them with questions. They didn't come here to see you. They'll get to you eventually. Everyone wants to see the kitchen, so they'll get to the kitchen eventually. But you just got to give them their space to do their thing. You know, at some point, this is what I'll say. You should write this down. I'll say, what brought you in today? Was it the signs or did you find us online? They'll respond, actually, we were just driving by the house and we saw the signs. What's that tell you? What should you be hearing? Well, then they're not even curious about this house. They're just curious about the home buying process because they didn't find it online. They don't know the price per square foot. They don't even know if they're qualified for it. They were just driving by, they saw the signs. Well, they're a little bit more captive to talking with you. What if they said, so what brought you in today? Was it the signs or did you find us online? No, we found you online. We drove down from Kent. What does that tell you? Well, it tells you that they're here to see this house specifically. In fact, they drove 45 minutes to go look at this house. Well, then you get to tailor your questions more to the house. This is how you actually go to selling the house. I think the number one reason why agents don't sell the house more that they're currently hosting is because they get blabbity bloobity and they just ask questions and they force people away. If they found someone who's really interested in the house and then they got to ask great questions about what attracted them to the house, they'd sell it a whole heck of a lot more. So respect their personal space. And then finally, the third, you focus on asking only open-ended questions. For those of you who are playing along at home who don't know what an open-ended question, it's a question that doesn't end in yes or no. The number one dumbest non-open-ended questions that agents ask prospective clients at an open house is this. Are you working with an agent? Yes. Okay. Are you working with an agent? No, they're all going to answer yes if you ask like that. It's a question you don't want to know the answer to, so don't ask it. This is how you ask that very same question. Welcome to the open house. So glad you're here. No one likes the Macy's salesperson following them around. You go tour the home, I'll be in the kitchen. You let them go do their thing and you just bite your fingernails waiting for you trying to talk, because it sure the heck isn't when they're upstairs looking at the 5-piece master bath. They come back down and you say, so tell me, how are you currently getting into the homes that you want to see? And they're going to tell you, we've just been going to open houses, we've just been looking online, or our realtor has been letting us in. And then your response isn't, if they say our realtor's been letting us in, you don't say, oh, so you're working with a realtor? That's a yes or no. You hit them with this little jab or jab. So how are you currently getting into the homes that you want to see? They say, oh, our realtor's letting us in. Oh, how many top producing real estate agents did you interview before selecting the right one to help you with the most expensive home purchase you've ever made? And they're going to say, oh, well, we didn't really interview any. In fact, it was just a friend of a friend of a family. Oh, great. And when you did your buyer's consultation with them, and they showed you how to best negotiate for homes and also what value there is in open houses, what did they tell you when you were to see another agent? Oh, well, they didn't really tell us anything. Outstanding. Then we go right into the invite to the buyer's consult script. What I'd love to do is invite you to my office. We'll spend about 30 to 45 minutes and I'll share with you a wealth of information. I'll show you how you can best negotiate for a home and where true value is. At the end of that 30 to 45 minutes, you're either going to be a much more informed buyer and you'll go continue to work with that other agent, or you'll see that hiring me is the right choice for protecting your investment. So, Tuesdays at 4 or Thursdays at 6, which one works better? You see, you don't get to ask all those wonderful, marvelous, great questions that look like they were just spun from silk from my mouth until you first pick the right open house. 2, set the great environment. 3, give them their personal space to go do their own thing, and then ask them open-ended questions. Every open house we do, there's one goal. It's to get them onto the invite to buyer's consultation script. Exactly just as in the invite to buyer's consult script starts out, so tell me what the house you're looking for. You can say just as easily, so tell me why you selected to view this house. I don't know, we're just looking for 2-bedroom homes. Why is a 2-bedroom home so important to you? It sounds like you're just beginning the home buying process. Love to invite into my office. If you can do this, if you can ask great open-ended questions, you will crush it at open houses. Industry statistics takes like 1 for 15 to 16 open houses to close a piece of business. No wonder no one does them anymore. You know what Mosaic Home Group is? The most pedestrian agents on our team are closing at a 4-to-1 ratio. For every 4 open houses they do, they close 1 piece of business. We got a couple guys in our team, for every 2 open houses they host, they close 1 piece of business. Because they got amazing at asking open-ended questions. And then going right into the invite to the buyer's consult script. Now, little warning. You're going to have an open house and someone's going to come in and they're a captive audience and you're going to want to just give them every little tidbit that you know. Why are you going to buy a cow if you get the milk for free? The time to do a buyer's consultation is not at the open house. You set the next appointment. For 2 reasons. 1, it's not true. They're not seen as a true professional. If you're at a backyard barbecue and a doctor starts giving you a medical exam, you're grateful for the information, but you're thinking, why is this guy doing this shouldn't he be charging me at his office? Exactly the same. And 2, you want to get more business, man. If it's a good open house, you don't want to spend half an hour just talking shop with someone. You don't even know if they're really going to hire you. You want to get as many prospective pieces of business coming your way as you can. I want to get someone in and out under 10 minutes so I can be there ready for the next one. So what should your presentation look like at an open house? I got a beautiful slide of what I used to do at mine. I'm going to show you right now. This is me, this is my open houses. This is exactly what I did. I'm going to explain to you these different tchotchkes. So the first one you see here, it's the science experiment boards in the back. These were exactly that, my 4th grade science experiment. You see, now we're talking about lead capture. So someone would come in and I would hit them with my open-ended questions. I'd ask them, invite them to the buyer's consult, and they'd say, no. And a lot of agents put out a sign-in sheet. They put out the seller wants to know who's in here. Everyone knows that's just a slimy, sticky way for you to try to capture their information. So I never did that, and you shouldn't either. You should be better than that. I use these lead capture techniques. I went to Cloud CMA and printed out a neighborhood report, and then I laminated it and stuck it on a whiteboard on those science boards and put it back there. So I'd have a prospective client come in. I'd try to set the appointment with them. They'd tell me no. They'd tell me no. They'd tell me no again. And then I'd say, hey, you see my neighborhood view report over here? It's got local restaurants, walkability scores, and the schools that are in the area. They'd walk over to it and they'd say, man, this is great. I would say, would you like a copy of it? And they would respond, of course. Then I would hit them with a jab. What's the best contact information? I'll send it over to you right now. And because Americans are polite people, they'd give me their contact information. And I'd send it to them, and then I'd follow up. So everything on this table was a lead capture technique. The next one that I had is, you'll see I had printouts up here on the right-hand corner as a printout of the house. I stopped carrying printouts. In fact, I would just bring one printout. Most of the time I would laminate it. Because I want someone to come in the house and say, do you have any information on the home? And I'd say, you know what? I'm down to my last copy. Would you like it? And they'd always say, yes, I would. Great. What's the best phone number? I'll text it to you right now. And because they're polite Americans, they instantly knew the trap and snare that I weaved them into, but they'd go ahead and give it to me anyways, because Americans are marvelously cultured. And then I'd send it to them, and then I'd have their information to follow up again. Those are my 2 lead capture techniques. Now, one thing that I want to show you here, it's this little this little clipboard. I had these clipboards sitting around, and they're genius. In fact, I have the 4 questions that I'm going to show you right now on the slide that I wrote on that clipboard. So this is going to happen probably quickly, sooner than later. You're going to have a nosy neighbor that's going to come over and want to talk to you for 22 minutes about God knows what. They're going to say, yeah, Miss Martha died here and her corpse is still upstairs. And just start to scare away business. Ugh! But how do you politely respect your elders while moving on? So I would have couples that would come in, and they seem like the perfect fit that I wanted to work with, but I'm stuck talking to Talkie McTalkerson here. They'd walk in, tour the whole house, and then leave before I had a chance to capture that piece of business. So I came up with this little lead capture technique. When I'm here talking with Mr. Talkie McTalkerson about the aeration of the grass for the soil content for the neighborhood, I would say, excuse me for 1 minute, I need to actually get some feedback for the seller. I'd go over to the potential piece of business I wanted to work with and say, I just have 4 basic questions the seller would like some answers on. Nowhere on the sheet am I trying to capture your information. If you could just fill this out and then give it back to me at the end, I would greatly appreciate it. Then I could go back to Talkie McTalkerson, knowing that they were eventually going to come back. If you put a clipboard in their hands, they're not going to leave it. They're going to give it back to you because we're polite. They're not going to steal that dollar clipboard. So I'd talk with Talkie McTalkerson. The couple would come back, and then I'd say, excuse me, Talkie McTalkerson, I need to speak with this client now to get feedback from the seller. In fact, would you go around the house now and fill it out to do the same? They're going to love this. In fact, they're going to write in explicit detail everything they think the seller should have done 4 years ago. They're going to leave, and then I'm going to grab that information. So, what brought you to the house today? Was it the open house signs, or did you find us in line? I don't even care what's on that piece of paper. It was just a great, yes I do, because I'm a good person, I'm genuine, and I want to make sure it's good feedback. But the reality of it is, now I have them there to talk to me. So that's why I use those. They're a great little placeholders so you can get to talk to everyone that you want to talk to. All right, why are open houses so important? Let me just show you the 7 levels of communication. This is out of some great book somewhere. I can't take any credit for it. 7 levels of communication. You see, the first level is advertising. No impact. This is what we talked about, invisible and valuable. The second one is direct mail. Third one, electronic communication, handwritten notes, phone calls, events and seminars. The number 1 most influential way to have a great, impactful impact with someone is a one-on-one. Well, let me tell you, bud, that's what the open house is. All this work, you could think, I just want to call people, I just want to text people, I just want to send them handwritten notes. All of that is to get them to the spot where you get to have a one-on-one, face-to-face, rub elbows, smell whatever it is, pheromone, whatever it is, to get them at an open house. You got them there, so honor it. I have seen agents who would be like, oh, I have an open house in 22 minutes, throw something together at the last minute, fly out the door, show up late, be sweaty, be dirty, and then complain about not getting any business. Now, open houses should be, this is your A1 number 1. This is game time. This is like the real deal. This is like Floyd Mayweather versus that Conor McGregor type. Like, this is the build-up you've been waiting for. So work for it. Get your scripts on point. Own it. Pick the right ones. The environment should be set. You should be ready to go. Lace up those gloves so you can crush open houses. Woo-wee! I feel like we're ready for some more. So I want you to go out, shadow an open house this week. Shadow one this week. Next week, we're going to have you doing them on your own. All right, see you next class.